I wanted to say a couple things about the lab, which is exercise 24 from Simply C#. That's the ticket information application that has file I/O. So the PowerPoint slide is a little bit confusing because there are two different form outlines. One of them looks like this, and the other one has a calendar on it, and it's not clear whether you should make two forms at first or something. So actually there are supposed to be two applications. One of them they've pretty much written for you, and you're supposed to have that in the sample code. And you can probably download that if you want to. And the one that they more or less give you is this one, the writer. So what this application does is it writes information to a file, and then the other application is going to be a reader, and it will read in the information that this application writes. So there's not, I guess maybe there's an inadequate amount of description of this application in the slide, so I just wanted to go through and tell you how to do it. So here, these are all labels. So this is going to be the description of some kind of event or something. And this tool is let me see if I can get my tool window open. That thing is a numeric up-down. So if you want to make that tool, you need to go to the toolbox and select numeric up-down. And here, this thing is a date time picker. And so that is also a tool you can pick right here, date time picker. And you can see that, like the picture, I've got it says 7:07 p.m. Yours won't look like that by default. You have to change its properties. And the way you change its properties is you need to go up to Format, change Format to Custom, and then in Custom Format write HH:MMTT, and then your date time will look like this. And these are text boxes. You can see here it's a text box, and this is a text box, and this is a text box. And of course these three things are just buttons. And they have also dragged an open file dialog onto the project, and you can do that just by dragging the open wherever it is, right here, open file dialog. You can drag one of those onto the form too. So that's how you do the designer part. And let me say a couple things about the code. Just like with the slideshow code, the PowerPoint code, it's better if you can find a way to imitate the functionality instead of just copying this code verbatim. But I am going to kind of go through it, and if you can get the resolution high enough on this video, then you should be able to read it if you end up in a pinch. So there's going to be this field, a stream writer, and here I've called my buttons BTN. So this is the enter button, so initially it's not enabled, and the close button is initially not enabled. That means they're going to be grayed out. And here, let me actually run the program and you can see. See, you can't use those two buttons at first, only the open file button. Okay. And I don't know why that's there. This is my code for the open button. So this really runs the open file dialog. So here's the filter, and I'm not sure what that does. Now here's a try statement where this says show dialog, so that's going to make the open file dialog open. And if the result is the person clicked OK, then make curfile the file name that the person selected and catch an exception, and if something bad happens, it'll show us. And now we do check validity. That's a method that's defined below. Here's stream writer. So remember there's a field which is a stream writer, and so this initializes it, and it's going to write to the file that the user selected, and here true means that we're going to be appending to the file. So this is the check validity method, and one thing that the designers of this program want is for the user not to be able to select a file unless it ends with txt. So they're only supposed to be able to select text files. The way I wrote my code, it's possible that file name is null. That could happen because curfile is initially null, And then if they don't click OK, for instance, if they click cancel, then down here cur file will still be null. And so I write this code to address that possibility. So if they do select a file and it doesn't end with txt, then you tell them that it has to end with txt, damn it, and all this stuff. I think that's in this code is straight from the PowerPoint slide. Now you've succeeded. If you get here, you've passed these two returns for these undesirable conditions. If we get to this line of the code, then everything's cool. And so then we set the open button to false and enable the other two buttons, and we return true because it is valid. And then when it sees that it's valid here, it'll turn on the stream writer. Now what does enter do? Enter saves the information in these fields to a text file. And so this is my code for doing that. I use an action, but the only reason I do that is because I don't like to write streamwriter.writeLine lots of times. I'd rather just write something short like send. And so all this does is it's doing streamwriter.writeLine over and over again on all these strings, which is really just all the information that's on the form. The information from each one of these fields. For the up down, the numeric up down, you do numeric up down dot value dot toString to get it into a string format. Now there's clear user input, and all that does is it empties out all the fields that are on the form. I didn't put too much effort into it, but clearing the date time picker was irritating me, so I just decided not to do it. And the close button, that closes the file. And remember, things don't get written to the file until you close it, so this is necessary. And then it sets the enabled status of the buttons back to the way they were at the start of the program, so that you can do it again if you want to. And that is the description. And now let's run it once. Let's put this, up to 14, and you could change this, I think, if you want to. It actually is 8 o'clock right now. Let's say it's 11:59, and the price is $20. And the event is mule baiting, and the description is baited that mule so good. And I guess this is something that people might buy tickets for. So now let's open a file to save that information. And my file is Audi. You're going to have to create your text file. So you can do that with Notepad++ or any other kind of text editor. So open Audi. And now notice that this button has been deactivated and these other two have been activated. So if I click enter, it will write that information and then clear this, which it just did. And now, so it's entered that information. I could do some more now if I wanted to and write other info to the same file. But let's just close the file, and now things go back to the way they were. We're ready to do it again, possibly write this information to a completely different file. And here, this is what got written to the file audi.txt. So this is just the information that we put in, and that's what the program is supposed to do. And I think that's it. You can email me if you have any questions about that.